Good afternoon, everyone. This is Henry. As we get into tonight's video newsletter, I thought I might save some of this for the premium video newsletter. We may go into it with a little bit more detail over there, but I don't feel like I can bring you my 5 favorite symbols in 5 minutes or less without beginning with the massive caveat that is the current situation of the witching expiration. So however you want to measure it, be it a distance from the 21 EMA, be it an extension from a previous high to low that clearly has made those extensions, however you'd like to look at it, the market is stretched. But for those that look at it and kind of gawk at it and just can't understand how does something like this keep pushing up, I am of the opinion that a huge part of it is this Friday's options, right? Those contracts that will expire tomorrow at the closing bell supply a lot of a tailwind to this rally. So I go into the weekend about as close to flat. Again, we've got one more day, of course, but I plan on going into that weekend about as flat as I possibly can. You know, I just really don't want Monday or Tuesday for the markets to be coming unwound and for me to have the positions on that I am about to show you. So again, whether or not you want to go into the weekend short is kind of in between you and your trading plan. I do think you have to have an extra degree of caution. But with all of those disclaimers and that brief market overview out of the way, let's get into these 5 names. The first of which is here with Zscaler. So Zscaler's had some time to consolidate. You can see that the squeeze has been in play really for the better part of a month. So in these video newsletters, I am usually focused on the squeeze just because it's so good at providing directional momentum. So the idea here, you pull back into the 21 EMA while a squeeze is forming. I think that before the year is out, we find this at 375. Now again, does that mean that Monday, Tuesday, whatever day of the week you want to pick, that it's going straight up? Of course not. If the S&P is getting hit, you can bet that Zscaler is going to come in with it. But if you can set it up and say, all right, from 318, I'm going to take it down into this swing low that is 260.40. And I won't consider myself wrong until I have a daily close under 260. I mean, if you can give it that much leniency, I do think we're looking for prices up here at 350 and 375. And that's one of my favorite picks in the current market. If you were tuned into last week's video newsletter, you'll remember on Thursday afternoon, I pointed out Tesla to you, telling you that it is finally time for Tesla to get going, and the timing of it couldn't have been better. Tesla really had a great move from the moment of sending you those video updates, so I hope those of you that are following here do find them to be helpful. We were in this in the chat room, had a really awesome move through it, and I don't think it's done yet. Now, just like everything else, and I'll try not to keep repeating that disclaimer, but, for next week, this could come in a little bit. Really, Tesla did not close very well today. It's not terribly problematic because it did still make a higher high and a higher low in relationship to the previous day's session, but I wanted to see it above 420 a bit. So let's see where we close there in relationship to the weekly close. But long story short, I think we are still looking for 515 in this name. I think that's a very easy target before the year is out, but we still have a whole additional quarter before that happens. So pace yourself, but just, do have that as, one of my favorite 5. Now another here, as I pick up the pace just a tiny bit, is ETHA. Now ETHA is the iShares Ethereum Trust. And if you wanted the cleanest signal, you would look at it through the continuous futures. I like giving you that ETF because it's a little more accessible to a wider crowd. But if you want a clean setup, this is where I'm looking. So again, going back to the squeeze, looking for these moments in time where we have sideways trade, that compression builds out the squeeze, and then looking for the squeeze to resolve in the direction of the 21 EMA, which currently is a nice rising moving average. And I think that gives us targets around here at 5,200 in ETH. And then I would just take ETHA off at that time. So that's 3. Then we've got Carvana, which this is, very much just a watch list name in this moment because it's not a small stock. And if the market is susceptible to a pullback next week, I just think you want to watch this one. You want to have it out there on your radar so when you get a repeat of this or a repeat of this, you see how both of those were very substantial 3-day pullbacks. Well, when you have that very substantial 3-day pullback and you're somewhere near the vicinity of this rising 21 EMA, I think that's where you can look out to November and December, maybe spread your risk, maybe look at a butterfly, but the pattern in Carvana I think is quite bullish. I'm not going to make the 5-minute cutoff, but I am going to get you my final symbol here. It comes in with one of the Mag 7s, and that is through Netflix. Now, Netflix, kind of like a couple of these others, didn't have a great close today. Anything below that 21 EMA is going to give me a little bit of a pause. But I believe this is a stock that's going to be looking for higher prices, and I'm treating it the same way in relationship to these retracements and extensions. That's to say that from high to low, you can see the failure at the 618 retracement. That is currently putting pressure on the stock, and maybe it needs another week of sideways trade. But when we start to get above, let's call it 1230, and especially once you start to get above 1266, well, that's where I'm going to be looking for this squeeze to push us into higher prices. I like 1400 off that extension, possibly looking up into 1500 before the year is out. Again, kind of depends on the nature of the cues. But again, that's my list of 5 with the caveat of the broad market being a little perilous. But let that correction come. Let some of this stuff get on discount, and then hopefully you've got some good names in your watch list to pick up. So I hope you find that helpful. We've got a lot more to dive into in the premium video newsletter over on Simpler Trading. So come check it out, and I hope to see you in the chat room tomorrow. Hey traders, this is Henry with SimplerTrading.com. I wanted to thank you for watching today's video. I hope you found it helpful, and if so, be sure to click the like and subscribe buttons down below. If you would like to also see me putting these ideas into action and trading my own account live in front of you, be sure to sign up at SimplerTrading.com, and I hope to see you in the chat room sometime soon.